civil behavior is what distinguishes us from the lower forms. It's what enables us to communicate, to go about things in an orderly fashion without attacking each other like beasts in the wild. Civility must be rewarded, Captain. And if it isn't rewarded, there's no use for it. There's just no use for it at all.
Welcome to episode 41 of The Graveyard Shift, where each week we watch a movie from the horror category and break it down into the good, the bad, and sometimes the downright confusing. We'll talk about the plot, some production details, and anything else we feel is fun or relevant. I'm your host Sheldon, and I never worked a graveyard shift alone. Please say hello to the bub to my Dr. Logan, my co-host Mike. That's you, right, Mike?
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure. And how are you doing today, Mike?
It has been a busy, productive day full of lots of stuff getting done that needed to be done, and this is one of those things.
Yep.
So, yay, I'm feeling on a roll.
Well, that's good. That's good. Speaking of on a roll, here we are with part 3 of March of the Dead, our tribute to the late George Romero and his Dead series. Can't believe we're, 75% done right now.
Yep.
So far we've talked about the groundbreaking masterpiece Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead. Before we get into the next entry in the series, Mike, do you have some more info about Mr. Romero?
Well, sure we do. After this movie that we discussed, he went on to film, before that, he filmed Knight Rider and Creepshow. Excellent movies based on, Knight Riders. Did you ever see Knight Riders?
I have not. That's one I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, apparently it's like some drama about a group of modern-day jousters who reenact tournaments on motorcycles.
I'm down. I'd watch that. Sounds like an episode of Jackass.
There was a horror movie with motorcycles in it about this, I think it was a British movie. These bikers, they kill themselves so that they can come back from the dead and be immortal. I forgot what it was, but it was some 60s or 70s movies. Clearly made by people that are just like, oh, those bikers.
Yeah, those bikers with their rock music and jousting.
Their leather jackets. So, anyway, the cult classic success of Creepshow led to Romero to do Tales from the Dark Side, a horror anthology series from 1983 to 1988, and also a great movie with Blondie in it. Debbie Harry as a witch. But, he was on... You can't say that he was a genius at everything, because with the 90s came Monkey Shines. About a killer helper monkey, Two Evil Eyes, a.k.a. Do Ochi Diabolici, 1990, an Edgar Allan Poe adaptation in collaboration with Dario Argento, The Dark Half, written by Stephen King, and Bruiser, about a man whose face becomes a blank mask. Boy, that sounds like some psychological shit.
I saw that movie, and yes, you're right, and it's not good.
Huh. But it has such a good premise. I mean, like, losing your face. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's all it had going for it?
Yeah, it was weird. It really does have a good premise. It's if you saw it, that description doesn't give it a whole lot of detail. It does have a good premise, and I saw it, and saw the cover in a video store. I was like, hey, George Romero, I'll give it a watch. And no, it's not good.
I won't give it a second watch.
No. And I don't recommend it.
But in the 90s, he also remade Night of the Living Dead, but he just stuck with executive producing it so that Tom Savini could direct it.
Yes.
Savini was also responsible for the makeup and special effects on Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead, Creepshow, and Monkey Shines. Romero had a cameo appearance in the Academy Award-winning Silence of the Lambs as one of Hannibal Lecter's jailers. Ooh. And finally, in 1998, he directed a live-action commercial promoting the video game Resident Evil 2 in Tokyo. The 30-second advertisement featured the game's two main characters, Leon and Claire, fighting a horde of zombies while in Raccoon City's police station. The project was obvious territory for him because the Resident Evil series was heavily influenced by the Dead series. The commercial was popular, although a contract dispute prevented it from being shown outside Japan, so check it out on YouTube.
I definitely will, because that sounds amazing.
Capcom was so impressed with Romero's work on the job, it was strongly indicated that he would be directing the first Resident Evil film, and that's why it was so good. Oh, wait. He didn't want to make another film with zombies in it, and he couldn't make a movie based on something that isn't his, he would claim. Although in later years he did write a script for the movie, so it was saved, and it was rejected in favor of Paul W.S. Anderson's movie, so it wasn't. And, oh my gosh, they just went with the guy. I don't know if it's because he was banging Mila Jovovich or... I mean, you can't blame him for that. But what you can blame him for was a fucking boring-ass movie. Mm-hmm. I mean, all it had was the laser grid. I mean, that scene was great. Everything else was such a long wait to get to it. And then when you got there, you're just like, that's it?
But Mike, it was so fresh and stylish.
I did like the ending. When she woke up and found Raccoon City had already been devastated.
Yes. That was a good ending. That was a great scene, yes. But yeah, overall, I'm not a fan. One kill and one ending and an ending does not a good movie make. No, certainly does not.
But you know what is a good movie? This one! So let's get to it.
Yes. So, like I said, we're at part 3 of March of the Dead. So, why don't you tell everyone what's next in the series?
First came the night, then came the dawn. Now it is the Day of the Dead.
Mm-hmm. That's right, and here is a little info on Day of the Dead. Released in 1985, Day of the Dead is an American horror film written and directed by, surprise, surprise, George Romero, and was described by him as a tragedy about how a lack of human communication causes chaos and collapse even in this small pie slice of society. It had a $3.5 million budget and had a box office return of approximately $34 million. A great return, seeing as that is almost 10 times its budget, but still it's far from the rate of return of the previous two films. In fact, Night of the Living Dead got back, like 150 times its budget, something like that. It has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 82% from critics and 75% audience score. Can't argue with that, really. I might give it a little higher, but that's actually pretty decent scores. Now, as for the plot, a small group of military officers and scientists dwell in an underground bunker as the world above is overrun by zombies. So, we started in Night of the Living Dead with the first glimpse of the outbreak. Dawn of the Dead showed us the world coming apart, and the dead starting to take over. Now, with Day of the Dead, basically, the world's gone into the toilet. The people in this one, as far as they know, at least, are the only people left alive. So, even though you already kind of alluded to it, Mike, what do you think of this one?
I liked it.
Yeah.
It was a likable movie.
Absolutely. Don't know if it had the same effect on me that like the other two did, at least in this recent, watching again for the first time in a little while. But certainly good. To be quite honest, for a long time, this is probably when I first watched the series, all 3 movies in a row. So this would have been probably late 90s. For a long time, this was my favorite in the series. It was only in recent years that I started appreciating Dawn of the Dead in a new light, and that one became my favorite. But, I still really love this one, and we're going to get into why we both like this one very soon. But first, Mike, just a little trivia. Did you ever wonder why the word living doesn't appear in the titles for the sequels? So,
I assume there's a good reason.
There is, actually. So after Night of the Living Dead, Romero and co-writer John Russo couldn't agree on what direction to take the series. And, it ended up in court. of course, like all great stories do. So it was actually shown in court that it was actually Russo that came up with the title, Night of the Living Dead. But Romero was shown to actually own the movie rights. So what was the court solution? Romero could continue to make the movie series as he saw fit, gave him complete control over what direction it was going to take, but was not allowed to use the word "living" in the titles. So that's why there was a change in the title of the sequels, and that's also why in 1985 a movie written by Russo came out called Return of the Living Dead. And it caused a bit of confusion because a lot of people thought that Return of the Living Dead was actually a sequel to Night of the Living Dead. Caused all kinds of confusion.
Gee, with a name like that, I mean, come on, like, where's the confusion?
Yeah, and I got a feeling that's what Russo was hoping, was going to be able to bank on the popularity of the Night of the Living Dead series. And and because both these movies, Day of the Dead and Return of the Living Dead, came out at the same time, a lot of people believe that's why Day of the Dead didn't show the box office returns that the previous two movies experienced, because it kind of cut into it. So, Matt, speaking of 1985, what a great year for horror movies, because we got Day of the Dead. And just mentioned Return of the Living Dead, which is also a great movie. I love that one. Fright Night, Reanimator, Friday the 13th Part 5, Cat's Eyes, Silver Bullet, stuff. Fucking fantastic. But anyway, we're not here to talk about other movies. We are here to talk about Day of the Dead. And we're going to talk about that right now. And we're going to start with the good. We're going to talk about the good and the bad. And this is where we get to be as broad or as specific as we want. Whatever it is we liked or didn't like, we get to talk about it in full right here. We'll start with the good, and as always, we'll start with Mike. So, Mike, tell me something good about Day of the Dead.
The opening, I liked it. It reminded me with the helicopter and the those beautiful 80s clothes. It looked like an opening for Miami Vice or the A-Team.
Mm-hmm.
And that jawless zombie, when we finally get to see the name of the movie show up.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
Absolutely. Oh, what a great scene. That is just amazing. The city is wrecked, looks so grungy and dirty, and we get our that very first zombie walks into the screen in the title shot. And, just... I love that. I don't know how many times I played back that one scene just to see that. So I guess I'll keep going from there, because we get that opening scene, and then we get to see all the other zombies, start to catch the helicopter catches their attention. They start walking towards it, and we just see the whole scale now of this zombie outbreak, and we see that this city is a city of the dead. It is covered, completely packed, nothing but zombies. One of the characters even makes a remark that, you're sitting in the helicopter, you can even hear them over the sounds of the engine. And, it takes no time at all. We're only into the movie like a couple minutes, and you get to see what has happened here. That, humans definitely didn't turn the tide on the zombies. Everybody is fucked. And also sets up that, these people have been, this has happened, the zombies are no longer fresh. This has been going on for quite some time.
Yeah, and they haven't, it would be nice if, crows and other scavengers would be picking these things apart, but, at one point we even see an alligator in the city, and you think he'd be fat on these assholes. But no, he's just, he's ignoring them and they're ignoring him.
Yeah. One of them did have a severe case of crabs. It was pretty much picked down to a skeleton and covered in crabs, but apparently crabs don't give any fucks about no zombie.
Oh, that would have been great. We get to see the zombie infestation slowly taken over by an influx in the crab population. Like the crabs are just living good, and then I wonder if the animals become zombies, or if it's just like no, it's just dead flesh to them.
I think so, yeah. But yeah, so we got that opening scene. Like we both love that opening scene and the title scene. So what else you got for the good?
My next note is Harvey Weinstein throwing shell shock really far.
Okay, explain.
Well, there's the guy in the base that looks like Harvey Weinstein, a big, goofy, bearded Shrek motherfucker. And he throws the guy who's obviously losing his marbles. So I call him Shell Shock.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And at one point, they've got this zombie corral. And the guy's... He's losing his grip on these zombies, despite... Like, they're putting him to work, despite the fact that he's obviously... Like, he's playing with his lip and his beard.
Plus, he looks like he weighs about 80 pounds.
Yeah, this guy's got no muscle mass, and he's obviously losing his mind. But instead of giving him any counsel therapy or, a bullet in the head, because this guy's now becoming a liability, they put him to work, and surprise, surprise, he's not good at his work anymore. And he lets go of a zombie that almost kills a guy. So the commanding officer, again, I call him Weinstein because he really looks like Harvey Weinstein. He picks him up and throws him a good distance, and that made me laugh.
Oh yeah, he throws him like a fucking lawn dart. Yeah. So that guy definitely reaching his breaking point. I mean, he's just losing it. Like he seems like he's the only person that's stressed out in this situation.
Yeah, everyone else has their shit together. Like they've made their peace with it. Like, yeah, the world's dead. We're not.
Yeah.
These are just facts. Like the sky is blue, the grass is green. We're surrounded by the dead. Suck it up, Buttercup.
Yeah. And okay, so I already kind of touched on it a little bit when we talked about the opening scene, but I just want to take a moment just for my next entry on the good column, the look of the zombies in this one. Because in Day of the Dead, in Dawn of the Dead, I did mention that as much as I liked the movie, the look of the zombies was actually pretty bad. It was just pretty much people with just like grayish blue face paint. Here, they looked good. They were showing visible signs of decay, all kinds of injuries going on. They had like such a mix of zombies, like all kinds of costumes, and it just looked really good. Like you can tell how much Tom Savini's craft improved in the time from when Dawn of the Dead was filmed until Day of the Dead, and just fantastic. Like that was what I was waiting for. Those things looked like zombies. Okay, so
the gore and the the zombie variety was fantastic. And my next note says the brain zombie is amazing. All the research this guy is doing, like if they weren't so friggin' impressed, I would have loved to see what this guy was doing. Like he was giving us great explanations as to what's happening to the zombies, and this guy could have given us some real answers if he kept his marbles.
Yeah, really.
And he wasn't being shit on by this asshole running the show. But to see a zombie like stripped down to a fucking brainstem on a spine, like no teeth, no eyes, he can't hunt, so he just sits there inert, inanimate. But still, you throw a bit of juice in him and bzzz.
Yeah, that's true. Like something right out of... the doctor was nicknamed Frankenstein, and that looked like a scene like it could have been right out of a Frankenstein movie. So...
it was such a great puppet.
It was,
to see. Like just a human being reduced to their minimum function components.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Like, since we already talked about the look of the zombies and now like that scene, because The practical effects in this thing were fantastic. Once again, Tom Savini, heading up the effects for this one. And man, they were turned up to fucking 11 in this movie. The gore, the look, we already mentioned a bit. The look of the zombies, they look great. The gore in this, any of the bites that you saw, like holy shit, you could actually see like layers of tissue being ripped off when people got bitten.
Oh yeah, like you would think you're watching a full-length snuff film.
Yeah, the blood looked amazing, like super, like hyper realistic. So since we're talking about the gore, let's go into, like, because I know for sure we're both going to have these on our list, but let's talk about some particularly gory scenes where we get to highlight some of this, some of the work. Stress guy that you talked about, this 80-pound like ball of stress, when he gets bitten on the arm, because for some reason he decided the best way to take out a zombie was to, like, I don't know, roll into a ball and like take out its legs. The zombie gets a hold of his arm and just takes a bite out, and man, when he rips that flesh, holy crap! Not to mention the zombie looked just insanely good. But he gets his arm bitten, and the zombie just tears out the flesh. You can see like the layered flesh on his arm.
Muscle, sinew.
In 1985, and like it puts some of the effects I see today, like in some movies where when you see like a zombie bite or anything, this looked so much better than any other thing I've seen up to this point. And same thing when the guy during the same scene, another one of the soldiers gets bitten on the neck. And
Harvey Weinstein. He's the guy that gets bitten on the neck when he's trying to ambush.
No, not that one. The exact same scene where this Mr. Stress gets bitten on the arm.
Oh yeah, the guy. He kind of looks like Jason Mantzoukas. If you've seen him in like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, like that guy with the beard.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well,
that was
the guy that played this soldier anyway, the one that gets bitten, that dies, that Steele shoots him, puts him out of his misery because he tells him like, I don't want to be one of them. That's actually Greg Nicotero, who is the special effects supervisor on The Walking Dead.
Oh, so he kept the theme
He
going.
was actually, not only did he play the role of the soldier in the movie, but he was also the assistant to Tom Savini for the special effects.
Damn.
So yeah, the guy that does all the gore for The Walking Dead learned his craft from Tom Savini on Day of the Dead.
Man, I just love how these movies, just like, not only were they great movies on their own, but the talent that they brought and spread out into the world.
Mm-hmm. So he was basically, Tom Savini's understudy, which is amazing. So think what you want about The Walking Dead, but one thing The Walking Dead does have is some great special effects. The practical effects, at least, they go a little bit CGI heavy sometimes, but their practical effects are really well done. And
there are times when you can't tell the CGI from the practical effects sometimes.
And sometimes you very much can. But yeah, so the effects in this one are great. So let's talk about some highlights. We talked about the soldier getting bit on the arm, one getting bit on the throat.
When John Belushi gets torn apart.
Oh, and his eyeball is like his eyelid gets
freaking peeling his eyeball out.
Bites off his fingers.
Oh, that screaming, howling motherfucker! I was
He's
so
laughing
glad to
the
see
whole
him
time.
then.
We're going to talk about him because I'm definitely sure we both got him on our list later on as well.
And it doesn't belong in the good column.
But for the good column, his demise was awesome. He just gets pulled apart when they grab his face and start peeling back the skin on his face just below the eye, and all you see is they rip off his eyelid, and all you see is the big bulgy eye.
I was just thinking, like, you got to give Moss air.
Yeah. And then there's another one of the soldiers that gets ripped apart, and he gets his head ripped off slowly, very, very slowly. And
It was like the Thing.
It is, yeah. It's like you see, like they're already ripping out his guts, and he's still screaming.
He's screaming after he's been decapitated. But his head is still screaming.
Okay, I gotta mention about the scream, because do you actually notice the sound of the scream? About how it gets higher and higher pitched as like they pull his head off?
Yeah.
Okay, so I actually found some information on this. The reason why Tom Savini said he did it this way, because he said, you'll notice that, yeah, he's still screaming after his head pulled up, but his esophagus and larynx are still attached. And the reason why his scream gets higher pitched as they're pulling his head back is because his voice box, his larynx, is getting stretched out. So it makes his scream...
That's what I was thinking.
It makes his scream higher pitched. And I'm like, when I read this, I'm like, Tom Savini, you are a twisted motherfucker, man, to even think of adding that. And he actually says, yeah, you'll see that he keeps screaming until his the freaking esophagus connecting his head to his body detaches. Once that detaches, the screaming stops.
Yeah, because he's still screaming. It's just that he has no air in him to do it.
Yeah, I'm like, that is so disturbingly amazing. Why you would even add that detail into the death, but so cool. And yeah, we get another great scene where Steele, that one of the chief assholes, takes himself out after he gets bitten. And
yeah, just like the way everything just immediately falls apart because of shell shock.
Yeah.
But that's not that. I don't like. I'd like to get into that, but it doesn't belong in the good column.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So let's and so he takes himself. That was a pretty basic death because he just bites a bullet.
Yeah.
But okay. So since we're talking about the gore, we got to talk about the best death scene in the whole movie, possibly in the series so far. And that is Captain Rhodes' death scene.
Oh, yeah. Well, that leads me to... Well, I guess I will say it's my final like, but right before then, I just want to say, finally somebody in a movie needs water to take their pills. I mean, how many times do you see someone just like, oh, I've got a pill the size of my fucking thumb. I'm just going to pop it in and...
Yep.
How many people's throats are that moist right off the bat that you can just take a dry object and swallow it?
Mm-hmm.
But no, this one, when she pops a pill, she goes to the water fountain and drinks it, and I'm just like, yes! Finally someone remembers how pills work.
Yeah.
But yeah, the best, Captain Rhodes' death, The cause of his death is my final like.
Yeah. So since we're leading up to that, do we want to talk about Bub first?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, go for it.
My final like is Bub. From his joy to his grief, you feel for this guy. And in every other movie, a zombie is just a shambling piece of meat. It's just it's a threat. It is just awful and bad and wrong. But when there's Bub, you see joy. You see a childlike innocence.
Mm-hmm.
You see someone who actually wants a friend. Someone who, I guess either they fed him enough. I guess if you feed a zombie enough, they become docile. Or just, just spending time with him. Bub cares.
Yeah.
And he loves, he laughs, he cries. And you feel it right there with him.
Mm-hmm. What I got from it was kind of with Bub was because he's being fed, I guess it's kind of like an animalistic type of thing, like an animal, they're not going to hurt you because you're their source of food, you're actually bringing them food, so, and besides the fact that his, the whole thing about Logan's speech about he's being rewarded, so gets a reward for doing a good job, and he's going to expect a reward. But yeah, so I like this because it got kind of touched on very briefly in Dawn of the Dead about them showing up to the mall. One of the characters mentions just about it's some like bit of memory about who they used to be. This place was important to them, so they keep coming back to the mall. It gets explored much more deeply in this one with Dr. Logan's experiments with Bub. And you kind of know right off the bat, too, I think from the first time I saw this movie, it was no surprise that when he talks about reward, I'm like, he's feeding them people. What else?
Yes.
What else are, I don't...
You can't give a zombie a chocolate bar or pieces of other zombies.
Yeah, so that was no shock to me. But, Bub, was such a lovable character.
Yeah, who knew a zombie could be so endearing?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you see him get that cassette, and, the guy, he's got his finger in front of him, and you just think, oh, Bub's just gonna bite that fucking finger. But no, he just watches the finger go down and follows his own finger, presses the button, and when he hears the music, he's just filled with such joy and bliss.
Yeah.
It's like, pretty sound.
Without saying a word, Bub might have been the most expressionless character in the movie.
Oh yeah, he had the clearest, most sensible and reliable motivations.
Yeah.
In the entire, he was the best character in this movie to me.
Yes.
He was pure and he was innocent.
So now that we talked about Bub, we got to talk about the best death scene in this movie, which was Captain Asshole's death, caused by Bub, because Bub is pissed because his only friend that he had gets taken out, and he's angry.
When you first saw this movie, how sad were you when you saw Bub cry?
Oh, he was so... Yeah, man. It's so silly when you think about it, because we were watching this movie about this zombie that's getting mad because, getting upset. But, once again, the guy that played Bub, he says everything in his facial expressions.
Yeah. That he understood death. When he saw the guy lying there, that he wasn't thinking, oh, you're going to get up, he knew he's not going to get up. He's not going to share music with me anymore. He's not going to talk to me. He's not going to read to me.
Yeah. And when he first sees him, he's
anymore.
still got the chain around his neck, and he's got the end of the chain in his hand. And he's kind of pointing at it, the end, almost like he's saying, "Hey, look what I did! I figured out how to take the chain off."
But when Bub cried, just that look of sadness on his face when he realized the guy was dead.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just I teared. I didn't quite sob, but I felt a little choked up.
Yeah. And so that leads to, after all the other soldiers have been taken out by the horde of zombies, great scene as well. The elevator coming down with all the zombies, the platform elevator.
And none of them ever thought, hey, how about we just jam the elevator or send it back up?
Yeah, they all just
everybody just fucking flips out.
Especially one zombie falls off the elevator almost at the end.
That guy was
he just does
great.
a total face plant.
Face plant.
I'm I hope that wasn't intended. I hope that wasn't some stuntman. It's just some asshole just fell off the elevator.
He got shoved off and bam.
Amazing. So the whole bunker gets flooded with the zombies. So good to see all these zombies marching through here. Takes out all the soldiers, and we get to one left, Captain Asshole, and Bub doesn't take him out, but he's the reason he gets taken out, because Bub, we see earlier, remembers how to use a gun, which is a zombie with a gun. That's a great concept right there. Yep.
He keeps popping him, and his aim is not too bad.
No.
He's not hitting anything vital, but
something else.
He's fucking him up.
Yeah, and something else I want to say about the scene, there's definitely got to go on the good list. Finally, someone in a movie gets shot and reacts to it like they actually got shot. because he gets hit in the back, like in the shoulder, and you can actually see like his whole arm goes numb, like he's got nerve damage. He's just like, he's trying to walk, and one side is completely gone numb. He's got to lean against the wall to keep himself upright, and he's just like kind of pushing himself along. And I'm like, see, this is the realistic reaction to being shot.
Yeah, and he's like, you fucking zombie, you fucking creep, dum-dum.
Makes it.
Like, he's just,
You puss fuck. I'm gonna make a resolution to call more people puss fucks in my day-to-day life. So it makes it. He makes it down the corridor, but Bub's got him in his sight. Thinks for a second he's maybe gonna escape. Opens up the door to like, must have been like 150 zombies right outside the door.
Just a wall of hands coming and grabbing him.
Screams, turns around, tries to get away, and Bub just plugs him.
Gives him one more pop to send him into the horde. And as he gets pulled into his doom, he gets a salute from Bub.
Yeah, Bub salutes him. Before walking away, never to be seen again.
Except in an episode of The Walking Dead.
Yeah, they did they've done a lot of George Romero tributes in The Walking Dead. They did a Flyboy, right? They did a Flyboy zombie in one episode. They did a Bub zombie. And
wasn't it the actual actor? It was actually Bub.
Oh, it was? Oh, wow. Okay, I thought it was a tribute to him, but no, it was so. You know what? I'm going to say it's canon, and that's actually Bub.
Yeah.
That is pretty cool. So, yeah, but oh my god. So he gets shot for the final time. Still alive, though. Bub didn't shoot him in the head or anything. You know, he's still alive when the zombies grab him and literally rip him in half. Tear him in half, like, while the horde of zombies, the main horde, is like munching on his top half. He's still alive, mind you, while from the waist, he's torn in half from the waist down, and his bottom half is being dragged away by like 2 other zombies.
And he's saying, choke on it, you fuckers. Choke on it.
And he's, oh my god, such a good scene. And a lot of people don't know this, but I gotta say something about the scene that I read. So apparently to save some time, for the entrails that you see during the ending scene, instead of making up a bunch of entrails, Tom Savini got lazy and just got a bunch of entrails from like like pig entrails from a butcher market or something. And the day before they were supposed to film that scene, put it in the fridge, so, you know, keep them cool, so when they go to use them, they'll be all ready to go.
And they won't be attracting flies.
Yeah, but put them in a fridge that turned out not to be plugged in. So he got this bucket of festering pig guts left in the fridge, and because they were on a tight schedule, he just said, fuck it, we're using them. So filled up the fake, you know, the fake Rhodes body with the actual real rotting pig guts, ripped it apart. Long story short, when they yelled cut on that scene, everybody in that scene ran away gagging from the smell. So that is freaking awesome. So that was actually real guts you see in Rhodes' demise. And, yeah, just a good scene. And then we get, you know, just loads more gore, because we get to see the zombies in a big feeding frenzy for the next 5 minutes.
Including the clown zombie.
Yep.
And the football zombie.
I love the picture you sent me of the clown zombie. Does this taste funny to you? So,
I wonder if he tasted funny.
Yeah, that was it. Shit. So yeah, great gore. Get to see one zombie has like a pile of like guts and limbs on a cart and is pushing it around. It's like a little trolley, a little wheeled trolley. He's got like a big pile of guts on it and just like pushing it down the hallway.
He's craft services.
Oh my god, it was so good. Instead of like just eating there, he just like I'll just Save these for later. But yeah, so that just the gore, like all those scenes, so gory and just so good. The zombie kills as well were all really good. Tom Savini, this is like the highlight of his work. It is so amazing. So yeah, so you said that was the end of your good list?
Yep.
Okay, I got one more thing to mention. Because since it came up in the other two movies, finally, it took 3 movies, but George Romero finally wrote a female character that wasn't useless.
For the most part.
Come on, she wasn't a bad character.
She... we'll get to the bad part. I'll wait for the bad part to... she was, 80% good, 20% fucking awful.
Okay, well, I'll agree to that. She certainly wasn't a perfect character, but at least, it wasn't some, weak, hysterical woman like every other woman he's written into his movies.
No, that was her boyfriend.
Yeah. He was a bit crazy, yeah. But, you know what? That in a zombie apocalypse, that would probably be me. Completely losing it. So yeah, so we talked about we talked about good. We mentioned the gore, some great kill scenes, some good characters. So yeah, if you're ready to go into the bad, then I am too. So, shall I start off with the bad?
Sure.
Rickles.
You mean was that the Belushi guy?
Yes. Oh my God. Have there been... There's not many more characters in movies more annoying than this guy. His laugh...
No, this guy was the Evil Ed of the movie.
Oh, yeah. Evil Ed wasn't this bad. And I hated Evil Ed. But, oh, wow. Everything, no matter what, it wasn't... The things he would say wouldn't be, remotely funny. And he had this crazy, maniacal laugh after everything he said. Just, please, I was right from the first time I saw this movie. Somebody please shoot that guy. And
yeah, you think somebody would tell him, "Hey, act like a fucking human being."
And I don't even know what to call him. He was like Steele's little pet monkey. I think that's what I got. That's what I got to put in my notes as.
A howler monkey.
Yeah, Steele was bad enough, but this guy. And even in death, he actually went out laughing like that.
I was just like, well, at least he'll quit screaming. Eventually.
Yeah. So, I had to put that down. Oh my God. I don't know why... Well, I understand that the reason why that character is there, so you would hate him, so that you'll enjoy his brutal death even more. But...
Yeah.
It really, did it have to be that over the top?
No, it just seems like a mark against the movie. If you need to make a lightning rod for the audience's hate,
yeah,
I think that you've lost confidence in your movie.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't, you should have characters that are likable, or at least unrelatable and understandable, rather than just being well, we need to have some character for the audience to hate. Does the audience need to really hate a character to enjoy a movie?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, Darth Vader, great villain. Do you have to hate him? No, you understand him.
And Darth Vader, it turns out, later, he's a bit of a sympathetic character when you understand what exactly happened. You can have a bit of sympathy for him, but this guy was just no, he's there to annoy you. It's already a tense situation. It feels, the whole movie setting where they're underground feels claustrophobic. I can certainly understand everybody being on edge, and then you got to put up with this shithead as well.
Yeah, even Count Dracula, you don't have to like anything about him or even sympathize with him, but at least you can respect him.
Yeah.
He's a creature of singular purpose and intent. This guy was just fucking chaos and annoyance.
And you can have an asshole character. I mean, Rhodes and Steele's were assholes. But they didn't drive you, like, I mean, like, they were really a danger. They were bullies.
Yeah, they drove the plot or,
Yeah.
emotion in a scene.
This guy was just an annoyance through and through, and really was a turnoff. So, okay, what else? We talked about Rickles, that stupid fuck, so what else you got for the bad?
The first thing I put down, which I guess we glossed over before, was the gator should be fat. I mean, seriously, these things aren't going to fight back. It's not like they're going to, like, these aren't the type of zombies that would fight back against a shark. So, like, they wouldn't fight back against a gator. You'd think that he would be, he'd be just, the gators would be living it up on these things, but no. But I would ask, and this is a thing that I've seen in so many zombie movies, why doesn't anyone with a spear just walk along the fence, clearing it? Like, just shoving it through into the zombies' heads and just letting them pile up. Then when you're done with the pile, you send it somewhere else.
Yep.
Like, I'm useless, but in an apocalypse, that's at least a job I would do. just run along the fences, cleaning them up, stop us from getting swarmed. Because what happens? The fences always get knocked down, or someone breaks open the chain and the horde gets in. You know what? If you just dealt with the horde through a safe, manageable barrier, guess what? Door opens. Who's coming through? Nothing, because they're already dead.
Yeah. Yep, you're absolutely right. Like, it just seemed ridiculous because you're like, oh, the activity excites them. We don't have enough bullets to go up there and shoot them all. Yeah, okay, don't shoot them then. Make a couple of makeshift spears, like sharpen out the end of a metal, just a metal rod or like a piece of rebar even, and go out and start stabbing some heads. So yeah, that was I agree absolutely, and. It's just people, like, people have been in this situation long enough that they should be smarter about how to handle the zombies. And that leads into something I've got on my bad list, is the amount of ammunition these people waste taking out zombies. First of all, like, I mean, like I said, they've been living in the zombie apocalypse for quite a while. They're fully aware. Like, this is not new information that you have to destroy the brain.
And it's not, and they're military trained with close quarters combat training. So when they get attacked in the mine at first, when shell shock loses his grip, you think with 3 soldiers there, nobody should have gotten bit.
Yeah.
They all have close quarters combat training. They all have marksman training. But what happens when the shithead that gets bit fires his weapon all over the place, killing another one of his guys? Mm-hmm. And chaos reigns supreme when none of these people, like, these military guys are dropping like morons. It's like they aren't a trained combatants.
Like, I'm pretty sure if I was in that situation, I'm there, close quarters with a zombie, but I got a gun. I'm fine. No worries. I got the situation taken care of.
Even if you're out of ammo, guess what? You can still club them with the fucking gun.
I can just avoid them. I mean, like, Jesus, they're slow as shit. Like, they're not exactly, they're not that maneuverable. You can avoid them if nothing else. But yeah, like, trained military personnel, armed to the teeth. And how are they shooting? Are they picking up, like, zooming in, like, not zooming in, but, like, picking, like, a target, shooting for the zombie's head, making sure they're making clean, accurate shots? No. Shooting from the hip, spray and pray method, just,
Yeah, you think that they would...
shooting into a swarm at waist height.
Yeah, you think that they'd be adjusting their guns to, like, short bursts to save ammo and conserve and, like, keep their grouping right. But no, they're spraying all over the place, and it's like, have you not killed a fucking zombie before? Like, tight controlled burst, like maybe a 3-shot burst in the head, bam.
Yep. I'm like, okay, well, I think we've established that the last movie all of these people saw was Rambo, because all just, like, holding their guns at their hip and just spraying away. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You're supposed to be professionals.
Your guns have sights on them, you jagoffs.
Especially since we saw, I can't remember the guy's name, the black guy, the helicopter pilot. When he had Rhodes pistols, he was making great shots. Taking his time, lining up for the head, shooting them from a distance, no problem. Give him a machine gun, and all of a sudden he's just like, oh, this is how you shoot it. You hold it at your hip and just like kind of spin back and forth. Like a lawn sprinkler.
Yeah, even when the Horde came in through the elevator, you think all these guys would be like, wait a second, we're soldiers with guns.
Yeah.
And we have experience.
Before...
by the time that elevator got to the
Absolutely.
bottom, there would at least be at least a third of them would have been gone.
You got three guys,
or be left.
Three guys there with machine guns before the elevator hit the ground. They could have had like I'd say close to half of those zombies taken out.
Yeah, and then just lead them down the hallway, just drawing them out in through a corridor, dropping them, make them stumble over each other.
Yep.
There's no reason humanity should have fallen, let alone this base.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely.
So, that leads me to my next dislike. Harvey Weinstein and John Belushi. More screams than a season of Dragon Ball Z. I mean, even that fat bearded ogre motherfucker, he's hooting and hollering when they're driving down the corridor with that gate.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like going woo 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 woo. They're going to the cafeteria, just screaming and hollering like some good old boys, just like fucking what was it, Roger? No, Paul. What was the guy from the mall?
The guy that got bitten?
Yeah.
Roger, yeah.
Roger, he got bitten. Again, another fucking idiot hooting and hollering what is up with the white people in the apocalypse? Every time you see a black guy in these movies, he's the sensible, calm, reasoning one.
Yeah, they need to really need to relax. Once again, Steel and Rickles, just such an annoying pair of characters.
In contrast, I love that Jamaican pilot.
Yeah.
He he's got his trailer, which is decked out, calling it the Ritz, and it looks fucking great. It looks resplendent. And when he's trying to comfort, what's her name?
Mm-hmm.
What is her name in this movie?
Woman.
Yep. So when he's speaking to Woman, and he's, she's drinking and she's just saying she doesn't want to talk, and he gives her just this beautiful pearl of wisdom. It take more energy to keep quiet than speak your mind. And I was just like, that's brilliant. There's a brilliant guy, and then he's surrounded by a bunch of psycho honkies. It's just not.
Okay. So
What about you? Any more bads?
I don't think so. There's dialogue is not great, but I mean, it's okay. It's better than the dialogue in the first two movies, as far as I'm concerned. But
yeah, it takes a turn or two, and especially when the guy calls him a jungle bunny head.
yeah,
Fuck. Do you need to have racism in every movie?
yeah. So it's not great. The acting. What do you think about the acting in this? Did you think it was a step up from the other two, or about the same?
It was two extremes.
Yeah.
The wacko, annoying assholes, and then there was Shell Shock, who, again, why was he even tolerated? The second he lost his marbles, you'd think, okay, we're going to put him in quarantine for about 2 weeks. Just, give him time to calm down, get to normalize, give him time to regulate, and if he doesn't, if he's permanently broken, then, you gotta put a bullet in him and move on.
Yeah. He was the worst actor as far as I'm concerned, because he just every line he gave sounded very forced.
How do you express discomfort? Scream!
Yeah.
Well, what about emotion? Let your voice crack a little. You mean screaming? No. How about just, let your voice quiver a bit when I'm screaming. No.
Yeah. He used to respond to things like you would swear he was a teenage girl. But yeah, it was just his lines were very forced. Once again, I mean, there's no stellar actors in any of these movies, but
The Jamaican pilot I liked.
he wasn't bad actually.
Oh, and that Irish actor.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine the zombies ever going for him. That guy was just fucking bones.
Yeah, he is a pretty tiny guy. Holy crap. Him and Mr. Stress. I don't know who was the tiniest out of those. But he had some good lines, though. It's like, when he's talking about the condition of the radio, you know, he's the radio operator, he's the tech guy, and he's saying, like, he can't, you know, contact anyone. And they're like, well, you know, why not? Why don't you fix it? And he's talking about the conditions of the radio, and one of the soldiers says, well, how about you lay off the fucking booze and fix the fucking radio? And he's like, well, if we're down here any fucking longer, I will have to lay off the fucking booze because there won't be any fucking booze left. I like that. Like, I mean, not delivered great, like he's not a great actor, but just the line, like, he did do that line well.
Yeah, so it vacillates between horrible acting characters and one or two people that do get you to go along with them. Like, you believe... Like, I'd have to say the Doctor was a great actor, because he genuinely gave you the sense that he's... You know, he may be a brilliant person, but he's also completely detached from the reality of his situation.
Yeah.
I mean, like, when you see him, like, his eyes opening and his voice quivering, like, you can tell, like, he's reluctant to admit what's happened, and you can tell that he's cracked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is true.
Like, there has to be a reward. I mean, without reward, there's no civility, and it must be rewarded.
I liked, even though he's very over the top, not the Doctor, but Captain Rhodes, Joe Pilato.
Yep.
He's so over the top, but, like, I did like it, though. He's so fucking intense.
His Wikipedia page, if you see him now, he looks like a mercenary.
Yeah.
He's like, he never lost that look.
It's just, like, funny, like, especially when the first scene when you see him and Dr. Logan interact when they're having the meeting and Dr. Logan shows up late. And he keeps, like, yelling at Logan, and Logan keeps cutting him off and saying, "Is there food?" He's like, "I'm running this shit show now, Dr. Frankenstein!" He's so angry.
It's like you're watching two inmates in an asylum argue over who's the king of the cafeteria.
I'm watching this, it's like any moment he's going to start ripping off his shirt. He's just tearing it open and start beating his chest. It's just, oh my god, he is so intense. It is absolutely crazy. So, we were talking about the bad. We're gone into the good, what we liked about it. So, we obviously like this movie. We're talking about the bad. Do you have anything else for the bad list?
No, I'm good.
You know, what did you think about the music in this one?
I liked it. It
very
was
80s.
Yeah. And it really, like, we heard the Robot Chicken theme before in the mall, but it was kind of like, vague. But this time, when we see the zombie getting chained up in the lab and they turn off the lights, then you really hear that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, now it's solidified.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, well, yeah, I don't have a lot bad to say about this. I think we mentioned just a couple annoying characters. Once again, like all of these movies, acting for the most part not great. Some dialogue is a little sketchy. But overall, like, I mean, it's minor. Like, overall, I definitely enjoyed this movie. I totally agree with the 80% rating. I'd give it between 75 and 80. Mostly for the zombies and the gore in this one. I think they did a great job. So, if there's nothing else for the bad, I guess we're going to go to the what the fuck category. But the one thing I had for the what the fuck, I already talked about it, and it is about the stretched out larynx.
And me, it's just, I'm just wondering, what is up with this girl's dreams? Like, what the fuck is the hand wall?
Oh, yeah. The hand wall thing I kind of get. Like, it's just because your mind kind of makes, dreams are always kind of weird.
Yeah, you're surrounded by the dead, but then we see at the end when she escapes the silo and she runs to the helicopter and then she gets attacked by a zombie in the helicopter and then wakes up. It was a dream memory.
Yeah,
because she's on the island.
I didn't like that. Actually, I should have scrolled down a little further because I actually did have that in my bad list. That ending always made me go, eh. Because, okay, so it was obviously, it's showing that they did escape in the helicopter or whatever, but that the dream ending where she opens up the helicopter doors and zombie hands grab her, and then she wakes up, it makes you think, okay, so what, did this actually all happen, what we saw, or was it just a memory, or did she just dream that? It's...
Dreaming while running to the helicopter.
Yeah.
From the zombie apocalypse that her fucking boyfriend brought on because, oh my god, he gets bit, she cuts off his arm, tries to save him, and how does he reward her thinking of him? He opens up the fucking fence and lets all the zombies and then he curls up in the fetal position, hits the button once they surround him to bring it into the base. Like, he is actively sabotaging. He's not, like, chaotically moving. He has just decided, I need to murder us all. Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to kill myself.
That's how he rewards the girl who defended him.
I'm going to kill myself and kill everyone else along the way. So...
again, like, I would have seen that coming to, like, some degree of recklessness, but, this was just malicious intent. Mm. Like, every time she showed him some compassion or she didn't put up with his bullshit, she tried to set up, like, boundaries with him or, sedate him, give him a good night's sleep, and he's just like, oh, fuck you, you bitch, you don't tell me what to do, and it's like, well, yeah, someone has to because you can't do it anymore, you're broke.
So that's... Absolutely, I agree. And I didn't have anything else for what the fuck, so I guess that's it for the actual movie details. So I have a feeling we've already talked about it, but I'm going to ask you anyway. What would be your choice for your little segment?
There's so many beautifully justified grisly ends on this week's Kill of the Week. We've got the doctor who, after realizing how he's rewarding his patients, gets dispatched with, again, way too many bullets. Like, you think that you want to kill the doctor, you don't want him coming back, bang, one shot in the head. But no, they empty an entire clip into him. Which is not really justified, but it does set the impetus for Bub. But I gotta say, like, as much as I love seeing those soldiers, those fucking hateful soldiers, each one of them meeting their end, it's gotta go to Bub. Bub taking out Rhodes. Mm-hmm. He stalks him. He almost gets dropped by Steele, aka Weinstein, who's sneaking up on him, about to put a bullet in him, but then Bub gets defended by fate as another zombie bites Rhodes, and then he ends up killing himself. But so he stalks down Rhodes, Steele, pops him in... Yeah, Steele gets bitten in the neck before he can ambush Bub. So then Bub keeps wandering down the halls with his gun that he remembers how to use, and he finds Rhodes and he just stalks him, hounding him maliciously. Like, again, a soldier somehow doesn't have a gun, can't take out Bub. But you don't want to face off against Bub because his aim is true. And he just guns this guy down bit by bit, weakening him, shooting him in the leg, shooting him in the hip, the back, and then finally popping him in the gut once he's opened up the door and sending him into the horde. And then finishing him off with a smile and a salute. Because Bub loves, He cries, and he holds a fucking grudge.
Yep.
So, Bub is the kill of the week. He's just amazing. Bub led 2 people to their death. One who got killed trying to ambush him, and the other one who got killed being his prey. So it was a double dose.
Yeah, it was good. Like, I totally agree. That was a great one. One of the best death scenes ever was Rhodes' demise. Like, that's just so good. It's a great job. So, I gotta say, this whole thing about trying to teach a zombie, like how to kind of re-educate, teach them new skills, I gotta say, I know you liked it, but I think it was a pretty stupid idea, to be quite honest.
Are we on this again?
Yeah, we're on this again because it's dumb, Mike. It's a bad idea.
Look, simple people can be taught to do good things, and look, Romero, he did helper monkeys. So just because something can't talk anymore doesn't mean it can't be productive.
Yeah, actually, I think we've pretty much we actually have proof that it is not at all productive. And
God damn it, you're just not letting.
No, I'm not letting it go. People need to know about this, okay? And I honestly think, and you know what? No, they're going to know about it because I'm going to use it for this week's segment.
Oh, no,
yes, I am. Yes.
Get your fucking hand away from the projector.
Go. No, it's going to be this week's. No, get away. It's going to be this week's. It came from the cutting room floor.
It's not coming from the cutting room floor, you fuck.
Let go of the button. Hand off the button. Go. There. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Sheldon.
What the hell is that?
Oh, that's my helper zombie. I named him Bub. Like the movie.
Helper zombie? What the hell are you talking about? Why is there a zombie in the studio?
Well, I took a little inspiration from Dawn of the Dead. Getting zombies to remember things from their life. And I took it a step further. I've actually taught this guy some new skills.
New skills? What new skills?
I thought you'd never ask. Say hello to the Graveyard Shift's new sound editor.
What?
I taught him how to use editing software. Now he can edit all of our audio and leave me with some free time.
How?
It's all about reward. We can teach them pretty much anything, but they must be rewarded. If there's no reward, then how can we expect them to...
Wait. Okay, what kind of reward?
Well, they're simple people, so food and stuff.
Food? Hey, you've been standing sideways the whole time I've been here.
Yeah, I've got a nice profile. I like to show it off.
Turn around.
No, I don't want to.
Turn.
No.
Mike, turn around.
I don't want to.
Turn around.
Let go!
Aha! Oh, shit! Your arm is missing! You cut your arm off and fed it to the zombie!
I know it looks bad, but it'll totally be worth it. Just listen to his first edited track.
Mike, that was awful.
Okay, so more training will be needed. Okay, hold out your leg.
No!
Come on, be a team player.
Get away! Stay the hell away from me!
It'll be quick.
No!
No!
Get away!
No!
Oh, whoa. Oh, well. Now he's dead. Or deader. Whatever. Mike, it's for the best. He was starting to stink up the place.
All that work! And I still need to edit the show myself.
Yeah. And thanks to your stupid idea, now you have to do it with one arm.
Maybe you should do it.
Me? Trust me, dude. It'd be faster if you did it yourself with one arm.
That's what she said.
And that's why you don't have a helper zombie.
Well, we could have.
Yeah, well, I think hopefully you learn your lesson. What am I saying? You never learn your lesson.
Fucker.
But, by the way, great job on getting a new arm.
Thanks, I got it on loan from Dr. West.
Oh, God. So, guys, that is Day of the Dead. All in all, I fully recommend it. Great third entry to the series. good to see it at this point. The series was just a trilogy, and it was good to see a trilogy that didn't end on a crappy note. It was actually pretty good. So what did you think of the movie? Did you agree with what we had to say? Were we way off? Did you have some points that you want to talk about that we missed? Well, you've got your chance to voice your opinion. You can contact us a number of ways. You can, first of all, do it the old-fashioned way and send us an email. Send an email to graveyardshiftpod@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter at GYS_horrorpod. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/thegraveyardshiftpod. And also now, just recently, you can also check us out on Instagram. Just go instagram.com/graveyardshiftpod. So, and it's a great way to use those methods. If you have a movie you want us to cover on the show, just send us a message either one of those ways and let us know what movie you want us to talk about. If you're feeling particularly generous, you can make a donation to the show to help us keep up with administrative costs through our Patreon page. Just go to patreon.com/graveyard. For as little as $1 a month, you can help us out with some of those production fees. Plus, it gives you access to some Patreon exclusive content. Once a month, we put up a brand new Patreon-only episode that only our Patreon donors can have a listen to. So if you can't get enough of us, you can go check that out. And we totally understand if you don't have the money to give us money, but that's okay. You can still help us out a ton by rating, reviewing, what the hell? Yeah, rate, review, subscribe. Why am I not brain good? You can rate, review, subscribe, whichever way you find our show, whether it's through our Podbean website or on iTunes, on Stitcher, Google Play, whatever the case is. I'm sure there's some kind of rating, subscribing system. Just help us out there. And if none of that is possible, you can still help us out by sharing us on social media or just sharing us by word of mouth. If you know anyone that you think would be interested in the show, let them know about us. We greatly appreciate it. And Mike, if people can't get enough of you, even with all those ways, how can they hear more of what you have to say?
Well, you can check out the Playing with Power podcast, the unofficial Nintendo Power retrospective, where me and my co-host Ben read an issue of Nintendo Power magazine from front to back. We talk about the player's pulse, the artwork, the gameplay. It's pretty darn good. We also have a show on that feed called The Taste Test with Ivan and Brandon, where we take apart an old Nintendo game and decide whether we would substitute anything for it or if we would come back for seconds or send it back. And also coming up, I got a little announcement. We're bringing back my very first show, Technobabble, on the Geek Fallout Productions podcast feed. So if you want to find it, you type it in there. Because it used to be a network with a whole bunch of shows on it, but we're keeping the name and just making new episodes of my science and technology show, Technobabble, which is pretty much this, except we talk about amazing things that are being invented or beautiful breakthroughs in science.
Wow. So people, you can get a whole lot of Mike. It's like it's like an actual, like it's a Mike smorgasbord. Guys, I'm sorry. We're really excited. First of all, I just want to say, guys, you have all been great. Our Patreon donors, they've really come through. There's been a lot. Our Patreon has increased a lot. Got a lot more donors. We really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Can't believe how grateful we are for you guys. But just our regular listeners too. Our average downloads have climbed a lot in the past couple of weeks. Twitter followers, Facebook followers, Instagram followers, everything has been going up, and we can't thank you enough. And some things we can't talk about, but one thing we can talk about, we confirmed it today, that we are going to have a guest on an episode in the near future. We don't have an exact time just yet, but we do know we have got a guest confirmed. And it is none other than the founder of Trauma Entertainment. Mr. Lloyd Kaufman is going to be joining us on the show. Mike's very excited, as you can tell.
Happy.
Joy. Yeah, so that's great. We just got the news literally only a couple of hours before we started recording this episode. And thanks.
I'm still tingling.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy because it all started with just a tweet with somebody saying, like, hey, tweeted to Lloyd Kaufman, you should be on this show, The Graveyard Shift. And he basically tweeted back, said, hey, email our, our publications guy. Maybe we can make it happen. We did. And, he's agreed. So be on the lookout for that. Like I said, we don't have any definite time set up yet. All we have so far is that it has been agreed that he will come on the show for a little Q&A. So just be on the lookout for that. Keep a listen. Once we have some definite times, we will let you know. But, very excited. He's a great guy. We're a fan of Trauma, a lot of Trauma movies for sure, so we can't wait to talk about some of them. So, guys, thank you again for joining us. Join us again next week for the final installment of March of the Dead. I can't believe we're about to close this one off already. This has been crazy. You have any movie suggestions? Get those into us. And until next week, I'm Sheldon.
And I'm Mike.
And thank you again for joining us on The Graveyard Shift.